Yeah, it's like the number one. It's like the number one request, I would say, especially from our Twitter following. Yes, and yes, we will actually. We are thinking about it from the beginning.
Hello, guys. This is the first episode of Bitcoiner, the podcast for Bitcoiners from a Salvadorian to the world. So, on our first episode, we have Julian from Relay App. So, first of all, thank you very much for the time. Thank you for being here on the podcast.
Thank you, Juan. It's a big pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. I want to be very respectful with your time. So, we're going to talk a lot about Bitcoin and, well, see what it goes. So first of all, I want to know a little bit about yourself and where do you come from? I know you're from Switzerland, but I want that our audience know a little bit about your background.
Sure. So basically, my name is Julian. I'm 30. I just turned 30 years old. I'm from Switzerland. I grew up here and still live here in Biel, a nice city in the canton of Bern. It's close to Bern, the capital city of Switzerland. But we have our office with Relay in Zurich. Zurich is the biggest city of Switzerland. And, you know, Switzerland is a very central place in Europe, obviously. It's very nice. I studied business administration and psychology. And while I was studying and a little bit afterwards, I moved into banking and management consulting, collected my first professional experiences there. And then I went abroad. I spent some time in Australia working for a scale-up, and I spent some time in Silicon Valley, close to San Francisco, for an exchange semester for studying. And then I came back and I really wanted to become an entrepreneur. I didn't really want to be employed my whole life. I wanted to do my own thing, start my own business, make my own experiences. And that was a great decision. And I also wanted to work in Bitcoin because I discovered Bitcoin in 2015 already, and I really wanted to be active entrepreneurially and professionally there as well. So that's why I founded a couple of companies, and Relay is the third company I founded in this. And obviously now I'm 100% working for Relay. Relay is Europe's easiest Bitcoin app made in Switzerland. So within 1 minute, everyone can download the app and buy their first Bitcoin without getting registered or verified. And you can buy Bitcoin 24/7 instantly, directly into your self-custody. So yeah, all I care about and think about day in, day out is basically about Bitcoin.
Oh, wow, perfect. I know that Relay is your third one, and we're going to go deep in that. But before that, which one was your first two companies that you found?
So they are and were not very, successful or well known. So the first was Bravis. It was a consulting business where we advised financial institutions in Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain, whatever they want, because we saw there's a big gap from traditional finance to decentralized finance, like this new Bitcoin-based financial system, and they just didn't understand it. So we helped banks and asset managers and financial service providers to understand it more. So we did a lot of education, workshops, seminars with them, but then also projects in terms of how they can strategically position themselves and how can they deliver products or create and deliver products to their users in terms of that. But we were quite early there. I mean, we had a couple of nice projects with big banks, for example, ING, but also successful banks here in Switzerland like Swissquote, Valiant, Julius Baer, the biggest Swiss private bank. But it was still very, early. What was a bit more successful was the second company is called CCFE and is still the leading education provider for the financial industry when it comes to crypto finance, Bitcoin, blockchain in Switzerland. And so we educated around 600 people there, 600 participants came to our courses there. And it's like the main certification course for this topic in Switzerland. So this is still a running business that is operational. It's profitable as well, but it's bootstrapped and it's a smaller company. I'm not operationally involved anymore myself. I just own it still, and it's running. But now I'm really focusing on Relay, which is obviously a venture-backed, high-growth startup that requires a lot of time and attention and effort and drive. But it's fun.
Yeah, of course. Wow, that's a really amazing background, mate. And I wanted to actually ask you about how, I mean, you now found Relay App, but how was your rabbit hole journey? How do you discover Bitcoin? How do you discover Bitcoin, and how was your rabbit hole journey?
Yeah, so basically I discovered Bitcoin 2015, before it was cool, before a lot of people knew about it. It was still very nerdy and it was still very niche. So I was never into tech. I was more like a psychology and business guy. I never really was a coder or anything. But I had this friend who was a very tech nerd, and he used to play around all the time with the new technologies and stuff like that. So he discovered these innovations before anyone else did. And so at one point I was sitting in his flat, and he told me about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, that they were super interesting, that the price fluctuates heavily, to sometimes going up and down 20% a day. And it's basically internet native money that doesn't require any banks or governments to run. It runs 24/7 independently, and so I thought it's really nice. Also, from my background, I did some first stock investing, so I was always interested in the stock market and investing in general. So from this perspective, it was really interesting for me, but it was way too complicated back then for a newbie like me. So I did buy my first Bitcoin then, but over this friend. So this friend actually bought it for me, and I paid him in cash. And I also sold it again the same way, like half a year later. So this was really stupid. But I kind of got into it more and more through that, and it fascinated me that there's money that is totally independent from the physical world and the fiat financial system, the banks, the central banks, and the governments and the regulators. It's really like this independent freedom money, right? So this was super interesting for me, and the more I discovered about it, the more I knew or learned that Bitcoin is really the thing that changes the world, not all the other cryptos. And so the more I learned about it, the more fascinated I am. And that's why I'm still into it now, 7 or 8 years later.
And that's, do you have a like a aha moment, and this aha moment that you have with Bitcoin, that you said this is totally different from other cryptos? Okay, this is actually the solution from fiat money, and because we all have this saying, right, the Bitcoiners, that Bitcoin fixes this, and and with that aha moment, that's when you decide to found Relay. Or how was this? How was the process?
Yes, I think I was a bit slow to understand all of this. I think I had 2 aha moments. One was 2017, beginning of 2017, where I thought, okay, Bitcoin is really like something to take seriously, and all the other cryptocurrencies back then, I still thought. So between 2015 and 2017, I basically thought, this is speculation. This is kind of a cool experiment, but it's not gonna be a significant innovation in the world. But it's just a nice little technology. It's fun experimenting and speculating with it. So in 2017, I had this first aha moment where I was like, okay, where I understood that this is not going away anymore. This thing is growing. There's network effects. It's never been hacked. It's really like this very resilient technology that will stay definitely, and will change the world, and especially the financial and the economic world. So that's why when I really took it seriously. And the second aha moment I actually had right before we launched Relay, which was mid 2020, so maybe beginning or mid 2020, I had this second aha moment where I finally understood that Bitcoin is the true innovation and is the signal, and all these other 20,000 cryptocurrencies are basically just noise and really just speculation that will go away. And that really Bitcoin is this long-term savings technology, this digital gold, this sound money, and all the other cryptocurrencies are maybe nice blockchain tech applications. Some of them maybe will work or will have a use case, but it's far away from being money on the monetary revolution. And so that's where I really understood, also through the help of the Bitcoin maximalist community, because we launched the Relay app Bitcoin only, but we planned to add other cryptocurrencies to it. And so we did get a lot of shit on Twitter because of that, a lot of negative feedback, angry feedback. And I didn't quite understand why everyone was so toxic. So I went into this more and more and really started to read about like the difference between Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies and talk to a lot of people about it. And I really got convinced from like thought leaders like Jeff Booth, for example, and Samson Mao, and all these people that were into Bitcoin for a long time and were really not into anything else but Bitcoin. And so that's why that's when I really understood, and this was my second aha moment, that okay, Bitcoin is the signal, everything else is the noise, and we as a company, Relay, should also focus on Bitcoin only. And that's also, I think, one key factor why we did get all this, or still getting all this community strength and support, because we're Bitcoin only, and we stayed Bitcoin only for almost 3 years that we are now live. So I think these were the main two aha moments that probably everyone has. Maybe some other people have it within a couple of months. For me, it took almost 5 years for both of them to click in my head, but finally I made it.
So yeah, actually, I had also an aha moment, and for me was I read the Bitcoin Standard from Saifiti and Amus, and for me it was like mind blowing, because normally we don't get this knowledge, this education in college or even in school, and even the approach of Keynesian and also the Austrian economics, right? So there was, for me, it was like mind blowing. And then I started to listening to podcasts and reading a lot, even in Twitter. So yeah, definitely everyone have different aha moments, but once you get it, it's like there's no way back to from where we were.
Absolutely, and that's a big problem that you're speaking of, the lack of education. So you didn't get it in El Salvador, right? But we also didn't get it in Switzerland. Like in Switzerland, we have one of the best education systems, great schools, great university. But unless you really study business administration or finance, and even then you don't really get a good personal finance education on like what is money, what is savings, how can you save, stuff like that. But even if you study that, you don't get this knowledge. But like 90%, like the majority of people who just are going through the normal education system, they never hear in school about finances in general and personal finances specifically. So this is really a big gap, and that's also why to this day a lot of people don't understand the traditional financial system, and of course then also they don't understand the issues with it, so they don't understand. That's why they don't understand Bitcoin. It really requires a lot of understanding. And that's why it is important to read books like the Saifedean's Bitcoin Standard and the Fiat Standard, because then you realize how broken the financial system is and how important Bitcoin is.
Actually, that's one question that I was going to ask you, because, for example, in my country, in El Salvador, we made Bitcoin legal tender in 2021, and then it was like an instant approach, because everyone that have just a cell phone, instantly they have access with the Chivo wallet, that is the government wallet, to have Bitcoin and have the financial services that the bank has. But and then the government, I hear that they're making these educational courses for kids in school, and with every person that is working in El Salvador, like Samson Mao and Max Kaiser, and also Jax Myers. So, but for the average people, for the normal people, how do you approach? How do you make the barrier disappear for people to make the first approach about Bitcoin, to understand what's the difference between Bitcoin and why is superior money from fiat?
Yeah, it's a good question. I say if it's really hard. I mean, everyone has an individual journey, I think, into Bitcoin. What definitely helps is that people just start reading about it, and some people approach it from a technical point of view, because they are interested in the technology behind it, how secure it is, how how it could not have been hacked yet, how it works with the mining and the nodes and everything. So some people come from the tech approach, then some people come from the mathematical approach, the game theory approach, like how can this all work? How can it be so resilient for more than a decade without being hacked and so forth? And then a lot of people come from the economic or finance point of view, like how can this work as a currency? How can this work as sound money? As you said before, also the Keynesian versus the Austrian economic. How can it be? How is it like a digital gold? What similarities it has to gold, and what characteristics make it as good as gold, if not even better, because it's digital gold and stuff like that. So that's important to understand, that many people have many different approaches to this topic. But in the end, I still see a lot of people coming in for the speculation, and I think this is something we as Bitcoiners don't necessarily like, but we need to accept it, that people will come in first to make money, because they think, okay, this is so volatile, it's going up and down, and a lot of people know they don't understand anything about it, but what they see and what they read in media about it is, oh, it's going up like crazy, or it's going down like crazy. And the more they read about this, the more they think, I kind of need to be in this game as well. I need to, some other people are making money, I also want to make money there.
They don't want to lose the train.
Yeah, they don't, exactly. They don't want to miss out. They have FOMO. But the more they are then into it, and most of these people, that's an important aspect, most of these people say to me, for example, as well, they say, I'm pretty sure there is something there. I'm pretty sure it's the future. A lot of people say things like, I think it's the future of money somehow. They have no idea what it is, what it does, but they kind of feel it without understanding it. So that's why they want to be involved. And we just need to make it as easy as possible for people to get involved, to get their first Bitcoin. Like you said, with the Chivo wallet, all of El Salvadorians basically did get some Bitcoin, access to Bitcoin, which was great. Like they need to try it out. They need to have a look and feel about it. And then at one point, they will understand it more and more. And they will buy more and more, and for some it might take a year, for some it might take 10 years until they understand that this is the best way how to store value on the long run. And so we need to give everyone his approach, everyone his time, but mainly we just need to make the access to it as easy as possible. And that's what obviously a lot of service providers like Chiva as well, and we Relay as well, are working on, because I think the more people have access to it, the more people will eventually understand it, and that's going to make the transition from kind of the fiat financial system to the Bitcoin financial system easier and smoother.
Yeah, definitely. And so we mentioned a lot of times right now relay. So explain us, what is relay?
So Relay is basically Europe's easiest Bitcoin app made in Switzerland. So we went out with it 2.5 years ago with the mission to really get as many Bitcoins into as many pockets in the world. We believe that billions of people and trillions of dollars will be invested in the next 10 to 20 years into Bitcoin. So we want to make this super easy for people with Relay, and we are live in 40 different European countries. With Relay, it's super easy. Within 1 minute, you can download the app and buy Bitcoin from $10 already, without having to register, without having to verify. And you also have your own wallet. So within 24/7, instantly you can buy Bitcoin and get it to your own wallet, where you can also hold it, send it, receive it. And you can also set up a savings plan. That's what more than 60% of our users do, is they download the app and they set up a savings plan for like maybe $10-20 a week or so. So they have a dollar cost average plan that is automatically investing into Bitcoin and delivering the Bitcoin on a weekly basis to their own self-hosted wallet. So that's super important for us. Is we are Bitcoin only, we are like no registration, and we are non-custodial. So you actually get hold of your Bitcoin. We never hold the money or the funds on behalf of our customers. And yeah, that's basically it. So it's very simple. We just want to make the access to Bitcoin simpler and easier for as many people as possible.
So for for example, for a person that is getting the first approach about Bitcoin and how to get savings around this, you mentioned dollar cost average. So how can you explain to a normal person, to average person that is the first time that they're saving money, what is dollar cost average?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So dollar cost averaging is basically a very old concept. It's an investment strategy that works for anything that has a value that is fluctuating, so a volatile value. So be it stocks, for example. This works for that as well, or precious metals like gold. Whatever you think is a good long-term investment, but is kind of volatile on the short term. It's always a good idea, a good strategy to do a dollar cost average investment. And how this works is basically you take a fixed fiat amount that you can afford to save for the long run, and you put it every day or every week or every month. It's usually better to have a shorter period, but it doesn't matter. So most people actually choose weekly. So every week, the same day, the same time, you put the same fiat amount into this asset. So in this case, it's Bitcoin. For Bitcoin, it works amazingly well because it's such a good long-term savings technology, but it's also super volatile in the short run. That's why dollar cost averaging works very well. So you basically set up a savings plan, let's say $20 every Friday of every week, and then every Friday it just buys for $20. What is cool is that if the Bitcoin price is high, then it buys a little bit less, right? If the Bitcoin price is low, it automatically buys a little bit more because it's the same fiat money, amount. And so that's how you get a good cost average effect. That means that the price, the average price you're buying your Bitcoins for is being stable or even decreasing because of the fact that you're buying more when it's low and you're buying less when it's high. And so the longer you do this, that's the theory that it has been confirmed over decades in traditional assets, and also over the decade that Bitcoin is now, where the longer you do it, the better it works for accumulating a savings asset like Bitcoin on the long run.
Oh, perfect. And okay, so based on your background and everything that you're already told us, from where you come from until where you are now, why is it is important to you as a person? Why it's important to you to build Relay and to people to use Bitcoin? What is important to create this app?
I just really want everyone to have easy access to Bitcoin because I think it is the best savings technology. And I felt like since I am in Bitcoin, 2015 or 17, a lot of people came to me and asked, "Look, Julian, how can I easily, get started with my first 10 or 20 or $50 in Bitcoin?" And there was just no answer. It was way too complicated for people to just tap their foot in. Whenever you want to try something, you don't really understand it, but you want to try something, then we need to make it as easy as possible. Ideally, you want to be able to try it out within a minute, and with low effort, you want to have it fast, cheap, and simple. And if this is not given, then 90% of the people just won't try it. And I thought this is super. This is a pity that Bitcoin is so great, has all the characteristics for a perfect savings technology, but most people just never try it out because it's too complicated to buy it. So I felt this urge and this drive to really make it super simple for everyone, like for grandparents, for 16-year-olds, for anyone who's maybe working on building and construction, or as a hairdresser, or as a taxi driver. I don't care. And everyone should be able to just quickly try it out with a very low amount of time, effort, and money. And so that's why I wanted to build something like Relay, and I'm still very excited about it now.
Oh, perfect. That's cool. So I have seen a lot in Twitter that people are asking you about Lightning. Is it coming in the future? The Lightning, the Lightning
Yeah, it's like the number one. It's like the number one request, I would say, especially from our Twitter following. Yes, and yes, we will actually. We are thinking about it from the beginning, but it has been always still challenging from a technical and from a legal point of view to implement this, especially because we're non-custodial. We have more than 50,000 active users, and we would need to create channels to all of them. We would have to do the channel management, the liquidity management, and all that kind of stuff. It would bind a lot of capital, and then that's the technical aspect of it. Would make it super complicated if we would do this ourselves. And also from a legal point of view, the custody of the funds legally would be with us, and we don't want to, and we're also not allowed to with our license to do custody. So it was really complicated. And also Lightning, up until I would say end of last year, wasn't really ready yet from a tech point of view and a lot of parameters that we monitored. So it was just a bit too early for us so far, and we focused on other things. But now there's a bunch of companies going live with really, really great solutions to these problems that we have. So there's companies like you probably know, Breeze or Lightning Labs or Blockstream, what else? Lightspark, all these kind of River Financial. There's a lot of these great Lightning companies that are now building and delivering products for businesses like ours, non-custodial on-chain wallets, basically, user-facing apps that we can integrate via API, and then through that we can give very easy Lightning access and Lightning wallets to our users. So our goal is by the end of this year to be ready to offer our users not only an on-chain wallet, but also a Lightning wallet where they can instantly and for fractions of a cent receive and send Bitcoin, obviously, but also buy and sell Bitcoin instantly. So imagine you could buy $20 or $50 of Bitcoin on a Sunday morning, and you tap pay now with credit card, and literally a couple of seconds later you have your Bitcoin via Lightning on your wallet. So this is really awesome. this is what we are looking at and what we aim to achieve by the end of this year.
Wow, that's awesome. Hopefully we'll get that by the end of the year.
Hopefully. The Chivo wallet is already like that, right? I don't think you can buy within the Chivo wallet, but you can definitely send and receive very efficiently for almost no cost in almost no time, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can put a certain amount of money with your credit card also, and you can also do via Lightning. Yeah, so basically I think that's the approach in El Salvador. I don't exclusively use Chivo. I also use Moon. I also use Relay, and also use wallets of Satoshi. Anyway, so
yeah, all great product.
yeah, all the great product. So we're almost at the end of the interview, but we're going to do a little game. So just to not make it that serious and have a little fun. We have a little fun. So this is short answers, and we're going to play rock paper scissors 3 times, and we're going to pick 3 questions. The loser pick the questions, the number, and the winner read it, and we make a really short answer about it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so ready?
All right.
Okay,
yes.
So it's rock paper scissors. The go. Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rock paper scissors. Again.
Okay.
Rock paper scissors. Okay.
Okay. I got you.
And the last one.
Oh, okay.
So we make all of them.
all right.
Rock,
okay.
paper scissors. Okay. Last one. Yes.
Okay. Last one.
Okay. Rock paper scissors. So 1 and 1. Okay.
Okay. 1-1. Rock paper scissors. Okay. So what is the number? I need to tell a number.
You need to tell a number, so I'm going to ask you the question.
Okay. 55.
Okay, 55. Let's see. Oh, interesting. So it says, what is that one thing you will never do for all the money in the world? I think it's easy.
Wow. A lot of things I would not do for my money is not that important for me. I would almost do nothing for just all the. I don't even want all the money in the world, but I would definitely never
sell your bitcoins.
Move somewhere I don't want to live.
Okay.
That's the freedom to live where I want to live is super important for me. I would not for any money I would change that.
Okay. And mine is 12.
12.
Yeah.
Okay. What's something you love to do with your friends that you'd never do in front of your partner?
Of your partner? I don't know, but that's hard. I would say make TikTok videos like dancing, but my partner also loves to do TikTok videos.
Are you afraid to lose your partner if you do a TikTok video in front of her?
I'm a bad dancer. Maybe yes.
I want to see a TikTok video from you. I want to see you doing a TikTok video.
No, you'll never. Okay,
cool.
So one last question. And have you orange pilled your family yet?
Yeah, kind of.
That's nice.
I've orange pilled my little brother first, because it was his confirmation, like a big celebration, and then everyone is giving a gift, right? And what I gave him is 0.1 Bitcoin. That was back beginning of 2017, I think, and it was then I think $250, and now is I think 2.5K or something. Yeah, so. This is how I orange pilled him. He's now also on the savings plan of Relay, because that's how people start interacting with Bitcoin, is if they just get access to it very easily. And then also my mom is now, since I'm active with Relay, you know, she obviously knows about it, and she's also on a savings plan now of Relay.
Oh, perfect. Julian, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your approach about Bitcoin. And yeah, just thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Juan. It was a true pleasure, and I really like the hoodie.
Oh yeah,
this hoodie looks really amazing on you. It's
it's really
super
warm.
cool.
It's really comfy.
All right, thanks, man. It was great. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. See you. See you.
Cheers, man. Bye.